Why did my ex give up on us and on me? This is the truth behind all this. So if your ex decided to walk away, you're probably wondering why they just gave up on you, especially if they've been planning things and talking to you about kids' names and marriage and moving in together and all these serious stuff. And look, if you're going in a situationship and you didn't get that serious, this all still works, because after doing thousands of calls and thousands of sessions, these tips I'm about to give you are the most powerful tips, and they work all the time. People get their exes back all the time under my care. You just have to stick to certain things, but it begins with awareness and understanding. Just real quick, if you guys want a session with me, it's in the bio. You just got to click on the Stand Store link there and click the option that works for you. Just book a call. It's easier. So the very first thing, and I'll give you numbered tips. And so the very first one is emotional exhaustion and burnout. So people usually reach a certain threshold that they can handle in a relationship, okay? So when a relationship becomes emotionally draining and demanding to the point where they can't handle it anymore, unmet needs, emotional imbalance, these things, they will often create distance so they can breathe, okay? And this is why you always hear, I need space, I need distance, I need a break, etc. Emotional overwhelm is another one too. Like when there's a whole lot going on that they can't really handle, like it's just like there's like 10 things going on, that happens too. They're basically just exhausted, okay? And it doesn't mean that they don't love you. It does not mean that. What it actually means is they just thought the relationship wasn't going to improve anymore, okay? So they kind of get to this place in their mind where they're like, what am I doing here? So number 2 in this list is fear of commitment or vulnerability, and this happens with avoidant attachment styles often. Sometimes an ex pulls away because things got too serious or emotionally intense. So I see this happen when avoidance specifically will get to a certain seriousness in a relationship, you know, maybe like talking about moving in, just talking about it, not actually the act of. And this causes them to want to distance themselves because they're like, ooh, this is a little too much for me. And it's usually because they have some sort of trigger, something from their childhood or maybe something that just hurt them. So they feel that vulnerability and commitment and risk of deep emotional attachments. So this is what they're thinking really is, this is too serious. I'm afraid of getting hurt. So it causes them to have one foot in and one foot out. They still have feelings for you and they still love you, but they prefer their emotional safety over vulnerability, which sucks. Number 3 in this list is loss of attraction or connection. Over time, emotional and physical attraction can diminish due to unresolved issues. So I call this the bucket, okay? So if you imagine like a bucket or a cup, right? Something like this. Once it reaches a certain height, right? There was some like hot chocolate in there before. It looks gross. Once it reaches too high, right? It starts to overflow. And as soon as that overflow happens, they want out. They want distance, okay? So communication breakdowns happen and changes to the relationship dynamics happen when that overflows like that, okay? So they'll feel disconnected and the spark that initially drew you together is no longer there. Basically, everything's just too damn negative for them right now. So what they always say to you is, things just don't feel the same. My feelings have changed. I no longer love you. I'm no longer in love with you. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Let's be friends, right? And that's all. Just say no to that. So since the emotional connection is weakened, it leads them to give up on it instead of trying to rebuild it. And again, this all comes from an overwhelm of emotions, which is why you always need to give them space. 90% of people cannot give people space and do no contact. So you have to stick to it, okay? Because when that space is there, first of all, they'll feel respected and loved because you are doing it properly, okay? But also they just think about you a lot. And that's what really turns us around, because there's so much good in the relationship that was there. I know that. I've been coaching for 10 years, doing this for 10 years. I know that there was a lot of good. They have to remember that, and the emotions have to remember. So if we're talking about the cup, we have to empty the cup. That looks so gross over in that cup right there. Anyway, number 4 is feeling unappreciated or misunderstood. Now, all these points are going to be adding to that cup or bucket, whatever analogy you want to use. But anyway, your ex may have felt their needs, desires, or contributions to the relationship were not being recognized or valued, okay? And they have a constant feeling like they're being taken for granted, okay? Now, I'm in a marriage and I've been with the same woman for 10 years, and I know that I take her for granted slightly. Like, I try not to. I'm very aware of it. But we get so and this is just it's human nature. We get used to doing stuff like this. So there are so many times where like I just have to, like, I have it written down on my desk here. Just like, appreciate your wife, because like I have multiple businesses. I have so many things going on, right? So there are things that she does for me and I do for her. She appreciates me. But like, I try to make sure that she feels like I am paying attention to her and recognizing her value in the relationship. And guys, I forget all the time. Again, when you have multiple businesses and you're trying to, provide a great lifestyle for your wife and your kid, you can forget sometimes. It's like that triangle where it's like pick two, and you have like great connection with your wife, great connection with your kid, and then sleep / loving yourself. And you can only pick two, and you're constantly bouncing between all of these different things in the triangle, right? So they did this in college. It was like sleep, good grades, and something else. I can't remember. But you have to always make sure that your partner feels appreciated. So if they don't feel like that, that's what causes this to happen. So this is what they're thinking. They don't appreciate or understand me. Okay? What this means for you is they gave up because they lost hope of feeling truly seen, heard, and valued, which is why I try to. And again, when your partner sees you making an effort, that goes like a long way, right? And when you pull them aside and say, I have been awful at making you feel seen, heard, and understood lately. Just telling somebody that, right? My wife came up to me the other night and she's like, you have come from here to here in terms of your success. And she pointed it out. Now, I'm terrible at taking compliments, but like, I felt so good when she said that to me. And there was How to Win Friends and Influence People had this fantastic line, and it was this: imagine every human being has a gigantic like necklace that says, make me feel special. As corny as that is, I've always remembered that. And I try to do that. If you try to do this for yourself, but if you try to do this for your partner, your relationships will go a long, long way. Anyway, I tend to rant. Number 5 in this list is external stress and personal issues. So sometimes your ex's decision to leave isn't about you directly. I see this a lot when it comes to deaths in the family or school stress or long distance. Now, long distance is kind of directly tied to you, but it's more about the distance than it is you, because the connection, the relationship stimulation isn't there. So personal stress, career struggles, mental health challenges, and family pressures might have overwhelmed them. I see this in certain cultures as well. I see this a little go on in some Islamic faiths, where I will have some of my clients that are from that. And there will be pressure from parents, especially in the Islamic faith, where the parents approve or disapprove of someone, right? I get this all the time with some of my brothers and sisters from those faiths. So I try to make sure that because I'm from Canada, so I grew up with that around me. So it's kind of normal, but some people don't know. Some people don't deal with that. So those are a huge influence. If the parents don't approve of you, that's a huge influence on the relationship, because it's like, that's such an important thing. Now, I know in the West that's still important, but to them it's just, right? So this is what they're thinking. I can't handle everything right now, okay? And what does this mean? Their decision could have been driven by external pressures and may not actually reflect on the value of you or the quality of the relationship, okay? So you just have to give them space and do no contact as much as you can. So what should you do now? Well, immediately start no contact, reflect on yourself, start doing your glow up and your growth, okay? Sometimes obviously sometimes it has everything to do with you, but sometimes it isn't, okay? So guys, if you need help with your situation, reach out to me. I will help you. I'll get you on the right track, okay? Love.